I think he's the best.
Ah, you're a lovely judge. That was our producer's Brad Smith's work for the day.
Really? I would say for the year, and he's done well.
You've never been
Sadly not a genuine comment amongst them.
I was just going to say, when's the last time Max has been called a Sydney Stallion?
The Italians.
Marlow beer, I think.
Welcome, Keith.
Oh, hi, Bruce, and what a start to Cup Week. A record attendance at Derby Day at Flemington yesterday. First time the crowd has topped 60,000 and a great day's racing.
Max, Nothin Leica Dane or Octagonal, which is the better three-year-old? Over 2,500.
Octagonal by about a half an inch, but I'm not taking anything away from Nothin Leica Dane. A great horse, a great training performance. I think Octagonal should have just about won, though.
I thought for a moment you were going to say a good ride too by Shane Dye, but you just pulled yourself up.
It was a good ride by Shane Dye, but Octagonal had no luck. It was the breaks of the race went to Shane's way. He put Nothin Leica Dane in the perfect position. So as I said last week, to the victor goes the spoils.
Lee Freedman, welcome.
Thanks,
good day for you. A double with Gold Ace and Coachwood.
It was a good day for the stable, but I particularly enjoyed that Derby Day. I thought the crowd was great. The racing was top class.
Ray Huxley again. Do you agree with Max about the Derby?
Yes, I think the second horse should have won, Bruce. But I'm with Max. I think probably about a half length. I think if the breaks had gone his way. But I give all credit to Dye. I thought his ride was brilliant. He controlled the race from where he was.
Keith, has he got any chance in the Melbourne Cup, this horse? Nothin Leica Dane?
Well, the last horse, last three-year-old, Derby winner to run was 1989, Stylish Century. He finished last. I don't think he's got a chance. It hasn't been done since Skipton in 41, Bruce. I don't think Nothin Leica Dane's got a chance.
Let's have a look at the Derby and we'll talk about it and listen to some of the call. Octagonal, probably, remembering that Darren Gouchy couldn't ride Octagonal. He was injured after the first race on Encores and had to withdraw from the rest of the day and is not riding in the Melbourne Cup. Scriven got away pretty well. Shane Scriven goes to the rail here.
Perfect move. He's in the Saleous colours. 10 out of 10 so far. He later described his own ride as a crying shame, and the Derby result finished up Shane and shame.
Well, we've got Nothin Leica Dane second. I like it, Keith. Burrito leading. I'm not sure if it was perfect to go to the fence, to be honest. I would have liked to have seen him one off straight away. Why not?
I couldn't have been happier there.
Placed there. He's going nicely. He's got him settled well. Just for shade, it looked like he was going to pull, but came back nicely. But you've got to give it to Shane Dye, Nothin Leica Dane. He's got that horse travelling beautifully. Now, from the Melbourne Cup view, look how beautifully this horse travels. Lee, surely this has got to be an advantage for a horse that's got to run 3,200 metres.
Well, there's no doubt about that. I mean, he does settle beautifully. I've always been a fan of the horse from the time I saw him in Sydney when he won the Champion Stakes, and he gets his head low and travels beautifully in the run. But who am I to argue with TJ Smith? But I don't know. 3-year-olds in the Melbourne Cups, it just doesn't sit with me.
Bruce, you're asking our opinion. There was division in the camp after the Derby. It wasn't a unanimous vote that Nothin Leica Dane goes on to the Cup.
What part of some of the owners?
Well, Tommy Smith swayed everyone, I think.
I might talk about that in a moment because I thought. I've got to be careful. I thought one of the part owners' comments in the paper about the Melbourne Cup was very disappointing on Friday in the Melbourne Age. It's not a joke race. It's a wonderful event. It deserved better than it got. And I just disagree with her philosophy on the Melbourne Cup. The comment was that the Melbourne Cup's a joke race and the more important races are the Derby and all of that. Well, they are in a classic point of view, but the Melbourne Cup is still the race to win.
Derby's just about to be lost here, gentlemen. Can we concentrate on the odds?
Let's pick up the call. There's Octagonal trying to in the pocket.
It's about to be lost, not one match.
Now they straighten up with the Derby. Burrito the leader. Into the straight they come. 500 to go. Burrito a neck in front. Nothin Leica Dane is getting closer. 2 lengths Principality. Octagonal is badly hemmed in. He's got nowhere to go. He's gone back to third last as Nothin Leica Dane has shot to the front. Nothin Leica Dane in front. 2 lengths Catalan opening Principality. Dane are trying to get out, and here's Octagonal. Octagonal coming with a run at the 150. Nothin Leica Dane 2 in front. Octagonal starting to lift. Starts to pegging back. Nothin Leica Dane a half in front. Octagonal trying hard. Nothin Leica Dane rallies. Nothin Leica Dane wins the Derby 3/4 Octagonal. 4 away. Third in the race is Donor from Skybow out wide.
And Gay got pretty excited, as you'd expect after the race. Gay Waterhouse, I thought her speech was very moving, and for her to become the first woman to train the Derby. Have a look at her reaction up the straight. She is great for racing, just like the Hayes family, and Bart Cummings is, and the Freedmans are, and Dermot Weld for bringing out his horse, and Mark Johnstone, all of them. But you just got to love her. Look at her.
Helen Dalton's giving it a bit too there. That's actually
No, I'll just finish with that. I mean, Helen Dalton, good on her. I mean, it's wonderful to have a great horse, but I don't like it when the Melbourne Cup is derided. To me, it's the great day in Australian sport, and if Nothin Leica Dane wins, just like Robert Sangster found out in 1980, you'll understand what the Melbourne Cup means to Australians.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, we might get Dermot Weld later to quote Banjo Patterson, but when he wrote, when he penned The Riders in the Stand, then Gay relived it for him yesterday, didn't she?
What does switching the tail mean in a horse? Nothin Leica Dane gave it a switch from about the last 80 metres. Does that mean a horse is tired?
I did see it yesterday and I'd forgotten until I saw it again today. I don't like it.
What does it mean?
Can be tiring.
It means he was flat. And Shane Dye had given him one, and he sort of went, oh, I can't give much more. I think that's a sign.
Another point with that was the run of the tempo of the race, which wasn't particularly quick, which made it definitely harder for Octagonal. So certainly Nothin Leica Dane is in the record books. He's an outstanding 3-year-old, but Octagonal, I think, was definitely unlucky.
Yeah, look, I think he should have won by about a half a length. I think we all agree with that. Gay was obviously thrilled to bits after the race. She spoke to Craig.
Yes, he is going to run the Melbourne Cup. We've discussed it long and hard before the Derby. It's not something you decide instantly. But Dad's influenced the owners, and I think very rightly so. You know, when you go through the record books, there haven't been many 3-year-olds start, but whenever they have started, they've been exceptionally hard to beat.
Okay, what did Dad say to you after the win?
Dad said, run the bugger. Get out, he said, run him in the cup. He said, there's no just thinking about it now. He said, the die's cast.
Yes, run him. Why don't Tommy always liked to run him? Do you think
Tommy says, you can't win a race when you're at home in the stable?
Next, the fact that Tulloch didn't run, do you think that's on Tommy's mind at all with this horse? So, I mean, we've talked about, what was it, 1957, I think, wasn't it, or 58?
57, Tulloch.
Yeah.
Well, nobody would know what's on the master of Tulloch Lodge's mind, but it's a very fine mind when it comes to race horses, and as soon as you say he won't do something, he'll prove you wrong.
Interesting sidelight. The horse was an original entry for the Melbourne Cup and would have been allotted to something like 45 kilos. Now has to carry 47.5, and I believe Shane will ride him at 48.
He's interesting.
I mean, they pay
to ride at 45 kilos.
No one I know.
They pay for the gamble too. It's $40,000, the late entry fee to run the Cup.
Well, here's Tommy, also after the race.
He's running the Melbourne Cup.
And what do you base that decision on, today's run?
He's a 4-year-old actually to look at instead of a 3-year-old. And 3-year-olds can win this Cup.
I'll tell you why I think he's got a chance. I don't think our horses are very good this year. I mean that with due respect. I thought the Caulfield Cup was a bit down in class, and I think the Melbourne Cup is, except for Vintage Crop and Double Trigger. And by the way, Dermot Weld and Mark Johnstone are in the studio right now, and they'll be joining us after the next break, the trainers of those horses. Octagonal beat our horses in the Cox Plate. I just think he may be exceptional, and the older horses are not, and I think he has got a chance. I don't think we should compare him with Stylish Century, who was a runaway leader. This can stay, I think.
Well,
I think he's in with the race.
He relaxes so well. But you've made a point. Is this a class Melbourne Cup?
No.
Is this a vintage Melbourne Cup? Here you've got a very strong 3-year-old form line with Octagonal. And even if Octagonal should have just narrowly beaten Nothin Leica Dane, the form still stands up.
I agree.
Look, you're falling into an old trap, Bruce. You should not say that before a race, because often a horse it might be Double Trigger win this Cup by 8 lengths, and we'll be talking about the 1995 Cup as being one of the most fantastic ever. It's not until the day that you can judge a race.
It's a point I
or
accept,
the field.
but I think you have to make an analysis before an event, and I don't think this field is particularly strong from the older Australian point of view.
What about a man that's had some experience with Melbourne Cup fields, Lee Freedman? What do you think of the field this year?
I think without Dermot and Mark's horses in it, it would look decidedly one-paced.
Ray?
Nothin Leica Dane, he's still on his first preparation, you know.
Yeah, no, it's been a remarkable effort to get this far.
Remarkable effort to get this far. He can go on and then win the Melbourne Cup. Staggering.
I felt a bit for John Hawkes after the race. 2nd and 3rd, terrific, but he would have been disappointed with Octagonal. He took a long time to make up his mind during the week whether to run his Cox Plate winner, and he did, and he didn't have the best of runs.
You know, I was quite happy to run the horse, and I'm not disappointed that I ran the horse. You know, the other one, he's a good horse too, but anyway, the other horse won on the day. That's the way it goes.
What about the rivalry? Tony Burke, our good friend, wrote an interesting story in The Age about Gai Waterhouse versus John Hawkes. You're the Sydney man. Is there a definite edge to that rivalry, more than, say, Freedman versus Hayes?
I was going to ask that. Is there rivalry between Freedman and Hayes? I'd say it's the same. I think they both respect each other. They're great competitors.
But
They all want to win.
John took that hard yesterday, I think, don't you?
Well, John takes it hard when he does the job and perhaps the jockey doesn't.
Well, Shane Scriven thought that the horse didn't have much luck. Here's the jockey's reaction.
Probably for 2,100 metres of those, I was getting the run of the race, and exactly where I wanted to be. Everything was falling into place. Just when I started to make my run, I had nowhere to go. And at that point, you know, I would have liked to have been rolling into the race. I just had to come back a length, move out, and then go forward again. Meanwhile, the winner was putting a bit of a gap in me, and I just failed to run him down. And I reckon it's probably, the manoeuvre cost me 2 lengths, and I've been beaten a length and a half. So probably nearly should have won the race, I figured.
Don't think anyone will disagree with that.
I think he summed it up pretty well in a pretty sportsmanlike manner too. He's virtually admitting that had he made the other option, he would have won the Derby.
Look, let's leave the Derby for a moment. Let's go on to the Big Oaks trial, the Wakeful. More on the Melbourne Cup coming up after the break. Gee, Saleous was impressive. Pontolas was enormous, but other than that, I thought Not On Friday had every chance and probably can't win now on the weights. Shame, Brackenbank, Nightclub, we can go on.
Brackenbank's gone out.
Okay, but only from this you'd only say maybe the winner, but doesn't meet it too well on the weights. But gee, the third horse from the Oaks.
I tell you, we've got to wait another year, but this really underlined the significance of weights. The fillies who were penalised were beaten, and those who avoided the penalty ran the Quinella at least. I can't remember what ran third, but
Pontolas.
It was
it was the run of the race.
Well, it'll win the Oaks because it's.
There it is at the moment, number 1.
Couldn't believe she got up to run third.
It was a huge run. Damien made a big run in the straight. But I'll tell you what was great about this race was the way Saleous quickened and dropped Not On Friday at the 300. It was exciting to watch.
Alas, I was on Not On Friday.
She had a great run, didn't she? I thought, in fact, Michael Clark, good on him. Didn't he ride well? He was at Donald the day before riding a winner for his brother. He came out and rode this perfectly and then rode a Group 1 winner with Brawny Spirit.
And Pat Hyland, who trains his filly, has likened her somewhat to Rom Stiletta, on whom he won an Oaks. And he thinks she's going to be very competitive on Thursday, and on the run she's got to be.
Let's see how she quickens away. Now, Pontolas's white cap getting down to in the middle there, about 10th. Watch her run on. Here's the call.
2.5 in front now. Out after it is Not On Friday. Saleous has got a big break. 3 lengths Not On Friday. Tenacity, Rubidium, Brackenbank and Arctic Scent. But Saleous a mile in front of the 100-metre mark. They won't get her. Good on you, Pat Holland. She's 4 lengths in front now from Not On Friday and rattling home Pontolas, but Saleous wins easily. About 4 lengths Not On Friday and Pontolas from third last. What an Oaks eye catcher that was. It's run third. Further back then Brackenbank, Rubidium, Arctic Scent.
The comment was made earlier how difficult it was to make up ground yesterday and the times that they were running. That was just a phenomenal run, Pontolas. And I'm not taking anything away from Pat's filly. She's very good too, but I think Pontolas will beat her in the Oaks.
6-4 Pontolas, right?
Right on the knocker. And if draws well, it's shorter.
One other little sideline before we go into the Melbourne Cup preview after this. It was great to see Simon Marshall win yesterday on Auntie Mary, and I think he had a lot of fans out there. We know the difficulties he's been under. He rode a beaut race, and this was his reaction.
For a 24-year-old, mate, I've been through a lot. I mean, you know, there were some heartbreaking stages there through my career, and there was some doubt whether I was going to ride ever again. To come back today and win on this mare is probably one of my biggest highlights of my career so far.
And gee, the bloke can ride. We know that.
Ride.
Can he ever?
Sorry, Bruce. When they went across the line, in close-up, you can see him go, beauty, as they went across the line.
The joys of racing when you're a winner. Dermot Weld, Mark Johnstone join us after the break. The trainers. Dermot from Ireland yet again. Dermot, it's great to have you back for the 3rd consecutive year.
Yeah, it's good to be back again, Bruce.
With Vintage Crop and Mark Johnstone for the 2nd year, this time with Double Trigger. Welcome to Channel 7, Mark.
Thank you.
We can't do any pommie bashing. We've got a Scot and an Irish man together. We've been dying to get a pom in here. Dermot, I just get the feeling that things are going very well for you. I mean, this time last year, we didn't know whether he would run or not, and he ran such a great race after travelling slightly wide.
Well, no, I think the injury last year where he had to get the 14 stitches, that was the main problem. No, he's travelled well. He's in good order. I hope we keep getting some rain, and I expect a good run from him.
And Mark, are you absolutely happy with everything you've seen with Double Trigger?
Yeah, absolutely as happy as I possibly can be, but I keep reminding myself that I was happy this time last year with Quick Ransom, and that didn't do me a lot of good.
I think he ran 2nd last, didn't he?
Yeah.
So what do you think, Dermot? Do you think Vintage Crop's a freak that he's acclimatised? I mean, because Clifton Gale did very poorly as well. I mean, is he a freak, or do you think it can be done regularly?
I don't think it can be done regularly. I think Vintage Crop is a very good horse. He's entitled to one last shot of the race, but it can be done.
Dermot, I know it's a source of annoyance for you, but his age keeps regurgitating in conversation. He's 9 by our time. Only 2 8-year-olds have won the Cup. One was in 1938 and the other was last century. So how's your veteran going to do it on Tuesday?
Well, he doesn't know his age.
Right.
And I don't think his age is going to stop him. He possibly has lost a little bit of his dash. He's not as good over at 1 mile and 6 as he used to be. But no, I think there's another year in him.
Dermot, I'll put it to you. I saw him briefly yesterday morning. I think he's in far better condition than he was like the first 2 years.
I think he's in the same condition as the year he won it.
Yeah,
well same condition as his winning year.
Yeah, well, last year, things just... He didn't travel that well coming out last year, and then the injury really set him back, and he ran a smashing race.
Well, we'll look at that gallop yesterday, and also your gallop, Mark, later, and the fact that you went to Sandown yesterday, Lee, with 2 of yours. Let's go to the Mackinnon, though, because... As you'd know, Dermot and Mark, this is our traditional leader. Unfortunately, Patara's Bay, which was the outstanding run in the race, bled and won't be running. I think he probably would have run second favourite, Ray. Would that be fair?
Favourite, yeah. I would have had him almost equal favourite if he'd run on the performance yesterday, despite what Max keeps saying about the horse.
And the key now, I mean, we've got Danewin here.
Is he?
Danewin here, who's run a good race. He's a really top horse, and he's going to Japan. But from a Melbourne Cup point of view, the two that I guess we're really going to look forward to are Storm and Jeune. Now, Storm gets back and Jeune gets back. In fact, they race together for much of the event.
If we've got a wide-angle lens, we'll see Storm.
What's your assessment of the run, Lee?
Well, initially I was disappointed until Greg reported that with Jeune on his inside, he kept sort of getting wide on the horse and sat wide. Some stages of the race he said he was 4 and 5 deep. Went very deep on the corner. I didn't know what to make of it. The horse has pulled up perfectly. I still think he's right in the race with a good chance.
The only comment Greg made after the race to me, Lee, was that he was happy with the run, except he just would have liked to see him put in a bit more at the finish. Have you got a comment, a reply to that?
Well, we all like to see things that we don't see sometimes, but I was happy enough with it.
It's a wrong race for him, really. I mean, coming back from a 2,500 metre handicap to a weight for age 2000.
Very wide.
He's the widest horse. Widest horse now with Jeune inside. Patara's Bay runs away from him. Jeune gets up alongside. Now Damon gets the beautiful run. Let's take Brian Martin's call now. There's a bit of interference. Jeune got half skittled there. Storm's behind them. I actually like Jeune in the last 150. He just keeps coming. Here we go.
Peter Markin shot a length and a half in front of Station Hand. Jeune is late with Starstruck back in the middle. Damon a length and a half in front from Station Hand. Then Starstruck, Patara's Bay. Jeune can't go on. Damon getting tired. He's 3/4 in front. Oliver will get him home. Damon wins a Mackinnon 3/4 Patara's Bay. Starstruck 3rd and 4th is Jeune on the outside.
He's a fair way back, Storm, wasn't he, at the end? They left him.
It's the first time I've seen the replay since, and I'm happy.
You're happy?
Don't forget, Bruce, the stewards noted that Gregory didn't put Storm under a great deal of punishment over the latter stages. Not that that would have made a great deal of difference, but still I'd say he'd come out of the race feeling pretty good.
Keith?
Well, yes, I thought Storm ran quite creditably.
What about Jeune?
Jeune, he's starting to put in too many of those runs that he gets beaten. There's still some order of praise for him. He's just getting beaten too often for my liking, but he's there again, I suppose, but with his bigger weight this year, and it's going to be hard.
I would have liked to have seen Jeune go past Patara's Bay in the last 100 yards.
Mark and Dermot, what did you think of Jeune and Storm?
I would always fear Jeune, you know. I suppose it's easy for us to be limited to the horses that we know, or certainly in my case, I can't forget last year. I can't forget that I came here thinking Jeune couldn't win it last year.
Dermot?
I was impressed by Jeune. I thought it was a good run. He's come very wide over a distance too short for him nowadays. I definitely fear him.
And hard to comment on Lee's because you haven't really seen Storm before, have you?
I haven't seen Storm before. He's run an excellent race. Obviously a big chance at the weights.
At the weights. Well, Damien Oliver was pleased as punch in winning. He's not going to Japan to ride the horse. Jackie Shea is. He spoke to Craig after the race.
Well, congratulations. You went to the front and just about stayed there. It was a couple of them were trying to run you down.
Yeah, they did. You know, I sort of got to the front a little bit soon, but I I know this horse can sprint quickly for about 200 metres and then he just maintains it. So if I get that bit of a break on him, I thought they'd be struggling to catch me.
Bob Thompson thinks the horse can go to 2,400 metres?
Yeah, I think he's going to be competitive in the race. You know, his best distance has always been 2,000, but I'm sure he'll acquit himself well in the Japan Cup.
You're on fire at the moment?
Yeah, geez, I wish Shunny would have stuck. He's making a blue.
Well, it's a shame for Damien, isn't it? I mean, he's promised Damien the ride. This is the owner of Danewin in the Dubai Cup, but that's a long way away.
Look, he's a very good horse, Damien, but I just don't know whether he's on the pedestal we put him on, although he is the first horse to win 2 Group 1 races this spring, so he's pretty good.
What sort of pedestal we put him on? He's a damn good racehorse. He's a genuine racehorse. He would have figured, I think, in the Cox Plate finish, only he got skittled. He's a good racehorse. He'll go well in Japan, but I would prefer Damien Oliver to be the pilot.
Well, look, some big news today. Jim Wilson has been out at Flemington. A lot of rumours surrounding Jeune. Would he run in the Melbourne Cup? He spoke to Peter Hayes this morning.
Well, Peter, what's the word?
I had a phone call 5 minutes ago from Angus Gold, and he's on the way to the airport. So the horse is running.
It's terrific news.
Oh, yeah, great news, yeah. We're delighted about that. We felt after his run yesterday that he'd be better placed in the Melbourne Cup than the Japan Cup. We advised Angus Gold, and he advised the Sheikh that that's what we felt, and he's agreed, so that's wonderful news.
Are the plans still to go to Japan and also Dubai?
No, the horse won't go to Japan. He will just run in the Melbourne Cup, come back, run in the Australian Cup. If he's in top form, he'll go to Dubai.
Jim Wilson there from 790 News. So big news, Jeune not running in the Japan Cup, is running in the Melbourne Cup. That's great for us. The Crown Quality, let's go to that now. Coachwood, Lee's horse. It's a great ride, this, I thought. Brian York, he summed it up. He was on a 1-pacer. He went out hard, slowed them up, kicked away. Suddenly, Lee, you've gone from 3 to 4, I feel, don't you?
Well, you know, this horse, is, as you said, is very, very one-paced, and we've never led on him before. And I was really happy when we got Brian to ride him, because I think Brian's probably the best front-running jockey in Australia. I've seen him ride some great races from the front, and I think he caught a lot of people napping in this race.
Is your intention now to lead in the Melbourne Cup on this horse?
I don't think you can go in with any sort of intention. There's a lot of pace in the race, and you've just got to leave it up to these good jockeys to know whether they can lead or not.
Is Double Trigger going to want to find the front mark? You know, we've seen him lead in races on video. Where do you think he might be early?
And we've got grave doubts of whether he can get to the front, never mind. I want to be there. You know, as we understand it, there'll be a lot of people out there wanting to get their name mentioned first time past the post. We just have to take it as it comes. I hope he leads at the end, that's where it counts.
Are you impressed, Keith, Max, Ray, with this win of Coachwood? I mean, where does he come into?
Oh, he comes in at Bolter's odds with a lightweight chance. One thing that you can have in writing, any horse that finished behind him in this race has got no hope in the
Max?
Glenn Boss, what are you doing back there? Have a look at the start he's giving. I'm not taking anything on. Perhaps if he'd ridden it up.
You're talking about Japan, who's left of screen.
Yes, he's gave far too much
Max,
start.
I might leave you. Ray?
It was a nice win on a track that really suited the front-running horses. I don't think he's a Melbourne Cup chance.
No, well, he ran last year. He was immature. In fact, Shane Dye, the famous story is that Shane Dye selected this horse instead of Jeune last year, didn't he?
Yes.
And rode him.
Yes. Actually, this winner was beaten in the Benalla Cup and beaten in the Geelong Cup. He's consistent.
I've got to say, I reckon he's a chance. That was a good win.
Third run in a week.
Okay, now, I mean, if Mark Johnstone had a look at that horse's form, and he's got a horse that he's had 5 group wins this season, Mark, hasn't he, Double Trigger?
Yeah, he's had 5 group wins this season. Unfortunately, the last one wasn't the win, and that's, I suppose, the biggest question mark about him.
Well, I don't think a horse has ever gone into the Melbourne Cup with better credentials, 5 group wins in a year, in a season.
And Kingston Town might have won you.
If a horse that's the best horse in Europe cannot beat Coachwood, who was beaten in Benalla, I would say that the standard of racehorse in Europe has dropped considerably.
Can we clear something though, Mark? Can we clear something to Dermot and Mark without being disrespectful? We say that Double Trigger's the champion star of Europe. Lam Tara must be the champion star of Europe. He's won the Arc, the King George, and the Derby. Do you only consider stayers past a mile and a half? Because Double Trigger's not as good a horse as Lam Tara, is he?
Well, absolutely. We would only consider stayers to be a mile and 6 plus. My big argument would be that Double Trigger is not actually rated anywhere near as high as Lam Tara. Lam Tara, of course, is the best mile and a half horse we've seen, but Double Trigger is the best 2 miler.
Yes, because we call our stayers mile and a half up. So there is a big difference, isn't there, between the two. Dermot, just for you, a little bit of vision coming up. I know you're a bit keen on this. In fact, no, I've just jumped the gun with it because I want to get back to you, Lee. I do get excited about.
Oh, you've upset Dermot's got no idea what's in store for him now.
It was a little. It's called
He's saving it till last in case he walks out, aren't you?
It's like Solveit's pony. I'm a little teaser, Rosie. Mick Dittman you've got for Quick Ransom. This is what Mick said after he rode Gossips. Mick, he rode Gossips, but he's now on Quick Ransom because poor old Gouch can't ride it. This is what he said.
Going back to Tuesday, the main dangers?
Oh, well, it's never an easy race. You know, you've got to respect those horses from England. They're both very good horses. I think that Boart and Dory Amos are both good chances in the race. But it comes down to the horse who can get the good run and can stay the 2 miles. So, you know, one thing about this horse, he will run 2 miles.
You'd agree with that, Mark. And so Dory Amos, a lot of names at Doremus. Now for you, Dermot. We're going to have a little treat because you are the #1 ticket holder, I believe, in Ireland of the North Melbourne Football Club. So here it is, the night final, Dermot.
Oh, good.
Is it true that you're really keen on them?
Yeah, well, we get them all the time on our, on our Sky Television. But yes, I'm a big fan.
And are you going out to North Melbourne again this year?
Well, we'd hope to. Yeah, Dennis Pagan does a good job, and Wayne Carey, and
good judge.
You're North Melbourne. Well, let's see what sort of a judge they are on Tuesday. We're going to take a break and we're going to talk specifically about some of the horses that didn't run yesterday and hone in with the 3 trainers on their chances after this. And before then, Craig Willis has looked at some of the chances in the Melbourne Cup who didn't go around yesterday.
This was Darren Gouchy on Friday, talking about his Melbourne Cup ride on Quick Ransom.
I have no doubt he'll stay to 2 mile, and that's what I like about the horse.
This was Darren Gouchy yesterday at Flemington. In the first race, he fell from his mount Encores. He'll miss the Melbourne Cup. A bitter blow for a jockey who's finished second on 2 occasions in the big race.
The lacerations are up in the higher part of his leg, I believe, up near the groin area.
Mick Dittman will now take the ride.
Yes, well, it was good luck on my part, bad luck on Darren's, I consider him a very good rider in the Cup, so, I'm lucky that I was fortunate enough to sort of secure the ride.
The horse finished second last in the 1994 Cup, prompting then-trainer Mark Johnstone that he should have brought Double Trigger last year.
He's a Dow stayer. He's probably trained by one of the best trainers in the land, and he's sure to be spot on race day. Oh, I think he's in with a great chance. Only got 52. He's got a winning weight. Yeah, I think he's in with a very good hope.
Lee Freedman, now training Quick Ransom, is confident of a better showing from the 8-year-old. He was placed 3rd in the Moonee Valley Cup behind stablemate Storm.
Storm wins the Cup easily over Bullwinkle. Quick Ransom will get 3rd.
David Taggart has the ride on Boart. The horse was very impressive in the Caulfield Cup.
Doremus wins the Caulfield Cup a half length. 2 in second placing on the outside. Count Shivers, Boart 3rd.
Saw Count Shivers coming at the Founder. I said, well, I better get going. I'd rather it chase me than I chase it. So that's what I'd done. And I thought I had the race won at the top of the straight, but Doremus got home real good.
How much petrol was there left in the tank though at the end of the Caulfield Cup?
She was still actually, she wasn't given ground on Count Shivers. She was probably actually picking him up. But Doremus is rough. Last furlong was just phenomenal. He's run home the best 400 of the race, and if you look at the sectionals in the race, there wasn't much between them.
Doremus has drawn barrier 23 for Tuesday's big race. Damien Oliver was wrapped with the horse's run in the Caulfield Cup, and nothing much has changed.
Yeah, I think he's got a great chance. He's really done well since the Caulfield Cup, and Lee couldn't be any happier with him, and I wouldn't swap his ride for anything.
What sort of work has he been doing in that interim period?
He's been working mostly over 2,000 metres and striding home, and the horse's condition is just perfect. He didn't need another run in the Mackinnon Stakes, and couldn't be happier with him going into the race.
Count Shivers has been working at Ballarat. His run in the Caulfield Cup, and he was ridden a treat by Rodney Griffiths, put him in second place behind Doremus. Trainer Don Selwood.
We were probably behind the 8 ball when we first come over here. We didn't winter that good over there, and the longer he's been here, the better he's sort of picked up.
Last year's winner Jeune finished 4th in yesterday's Mackinnon Stakes. Former trainer David Hayes, back in town from Hong Kong, spoke on behalf of the stable.
Damien wins the Mackinnon three-quarters Pratara's Bay. Starstruck third and fourth is Jeune on the outside.
I just feel at this stage of his career the 2 miles is probably better for him. So we'll be doing everything in our powers to try and convince the owner to run in the Cup, and we'll be putting a strong argument for it. But the ultimate decision is Sheikh Hamdan. So, but to me it was a great Cup trial, and with the forecast of rain, sting out of the ground, he's a different horse.
Now at Sandown, things have been a little quieter. But remember this gent from 2 weeks ago on this very programme.
Imagine if the Melbourne Cup was a truly prestigious race. They carried level weights. You'll be betting odds on Double Trigger. You're Australian.
Be that as it may. But Double Trigger has yet to prove himself south of the equator. There is no doubt he is a champion, unbeaten over 2 miles, and arguably the best stayer in the United Kingdom since Ardros in the early 80s. He'll be ridden by champion jockey Jason Weaver.
From what I've seen, he looks very well. It's obviously very difficult to say till I put him under real pressure, but I'm happy with him at the moment.
And the old fella is back. At 9 years of age, Vintage Crop returns for a crack at our richest race. At the age of 9 and with 59 kilos, you would wonder why anyone would bother to travel halfway around the world to run for 3,200 metres. But he is a marvellous horse with a big heart who gives his all. And you can't ask for more than that. And just back to Double Trigger. His rider, Jason Weaver, is philosophical about his chances in the big race. His first ever ride at Flemington will be in a Melbourne Cup.
I've travelled to many countries and ridden in Group 1 races, and whenever you go and ride in Group 1 races abroad, the horses are very, very good, no matter where you go. I don't care, you know, you have great jockeys all over the country, all over the world, you have great horses all over the world. So when you come into a Group 1, it's very difficult, but I know it's going to be hard, beat you in your own backyard, but we're going to give it a go.
Yes, he spoke very well there. Dermot, you in particular, and Mark, have taught Lee Freedman a lesson, haven't you? To go to Sandown on a Saturday morning before the Cup and take your horses.
Oh, definitely. I think one thing we've changed, Vintage Crop has changed Lee's mind about preparation for the Melbourne Cup.
Has he, Lee?
For a few races.
Do you think Dermot, particularly, with his success, and has changed the way we've prepared our horses for the Cup in a short time?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. And I think the first year when Dermot came out, I was one of the main detractors. I didn't think, under what I'd been brought up on, that a horse could win the Melbourne Cup on that sort of preparation. Dermot proved that was possible. And I think if we can get the sort of training facilities here that we need, we can certainly train horses that way.
Mark, we were speaking or listening to Jason Weaver there. Tell us a bit more about your jockey, his ranking in England at present, and your opinion of his ability.
Yeah, he's just dropped from second place to third because he's been away since before the Breeders' Cup, and I don't think he'll be going back this year, so he'll probably finish third in the table. He finished second last year to Frankie Dettori, and that was the first year out of his apprenticeship. He came to work for us at the beginning of '94 when he'd been champion apprentice the year before, and then left again at the beginning of this year to go freelance. He's changed his mind and come back again, and we will retain him now for the next 2.5 years.
Michael Kinane was criticised last year, Dermot, for his ride on Vintage Crop. What did you think?
It probably wasn't one of Michael's best rides, but to be fair, the horse had had 14 stitches. He was not striding out as good as he should, and Michael was letting the horse warm into it. I wouldn't be as critical as a lot of people.
The work yesterday, Lee, Doremus and Quick Ransom. We were out there, we got footage of this. What did they do, and
I was
how did
very
they do
pleased
it?
with them. I actually sent them for a walk, and then they trotted round into the straight, cantered off. They went about 2,000 metres, about even time pace, and then came home their last 600.
Point out which is which for the people at home.
On the left is Doremus, and on the inner with the baldy faces, Quick Ransom with Midge Cooper on him. He's not a great worker, Quick Ransom. I thought he worked okay, but the other horse just had a fluency in his stride. He just went beautifully, Doremus.
Well, Mark, have you seen Quick Ransom this year?
I saw him yesterday. I was there at Sandown when he was working.
What condition do you think he's in?
He looked absolutely magnificent to me. Obviously, he was a horse that was difficult to prepare last year. He looked like a teddy bear more than a racehorse when he went to run in the Melbourne Cup last year. He's got a lovely coat on him now. You've got to think he must be better off now.
I don't envy the job that Mark had last year, because I know when the horse came to us, he had grown his English widow coat in the middle of the spring here. You can't train horses when they do that.
Friday, Mark, you had... was it a serious gallop with Double Trigger? Was his fastest gallop, was it?
Yeah, it was his fastest gallop since he's been here. I don't think you should get carried away with thinking this is the way we train horses at home. He worked over about 1,000 metres. he wouldn't work over anything short of 1,400 metres at home, and then it would be up a mountainside, not on a flat track like this. So really, it's just trial and error. We're trying to do enough to be sure the horse is fit without adding to what they must have suffered in the plane journey.
Dermot, Michael Kinane, I read it in the London Times after the Ascot Gold Cup where he said he felt Double Trigger's best was actually better than Vintage Crop's best. He said, my bloke might be just over the top now anyway, but he said, I don't know if we could have beaten this fellow even when we were at our top. Do you think Double Trigger is as classy as Vintage Crop? And
Double Trigger's a very, very high-class horse, and certainly in the Gold Cup he was unbeatable. It was a fabulous performance by a 4-year-old.
Does it worry you at all, Mark, the Paris experience? I mean, from our point of view, that's the one blot. I think he probably would have been 2 points shorter tomorrow, on Tuesday, if he did not run in Paris.
Absolutely. It's the big blot. We'd probably have come here full of confidence had he won in Paris. We were beginning to think there that nothing could beat us. Maybe that's just been a good thing. It's brought us back down to earth. At least we can relax a bit now, coming off a defeat.
It was after that there was some indecision on the trip, Mark. Did finances come into it? Can I ask, if I'm not prying, the ballpark figure of the cost of this adventure?
The fare itself, the actual plane fare just for the horse, was £22,000 or about $44,000. We were originally looking at spending double that on the fare because we were going to bring another one of our own horses.
Double Blue, the Springer?
Yeah, we were going to bring Double Blue. Finances came into it a lot. You know, the whole trip is probably costing, certainly £30,000 plus. In fact, more than that, probably near £40,000.
Near 80,000 Australian dollars.
Near 80,000 Australian dollars.
You're waxing with Dermot?
We
waxing sharing. Yeah. Sharing costs?
Yeah, well that's exactly that probably helped swing it. We met Dermot at the sales a few days after the Prix de Cadran. We were very hesitant then, and he said, well, you know, if we went, he would probably go, and vice versa. And that's what it came to, that we split the costs of the plane fare.
And the spoils?
That's helped a lot.
We're not telling you the deal.
Mark, how determined was Dermot to bring Vintage Crop this year?
How would I know? Ask him.
Dermot, this is Vintage Crop yesterday morning. Yeah. Dermot, we didn't think we'd see you back again with this horse after last year. We're just thrilled to bits you are.
Thank you. Well, he had quite a good year. You know, he put up some excellent performances. He won a good cup race for us at the Curragh, and we decided he was entitled to one last shot at the race.
Dermot, I believe he's had back problems, always had back problems. How's his back been this week?
Well, he's had his physiotherapy here as usual, and it's no better and no worse, and he's striding out very nicely, and I think he's going to give a good account of himself.
And beyond the Cap, Dermot, I mean, how long will he keep racing? I think he's had only 27 starts.
Yeah, we would hope there's one more year in him.
Would you ever jump him, Dermot? I mean, you've had some great jumpers.
Yeah, it's a possibility. We'll think about it. I've never been keen to do it, to be quite honest. His owner, Dr. Smurford, would like it, but I'm not that keen.
Cup hurdle next year, Dermot. Look,
I doubt it.
It's a lot of money to come for the Cup hurdle, 80,000. Just look, we've only got about a minute left. Can we just quickly get a tip, Keith?
I can't believe I'm about to say this. It was a month ago I said to the connections of Count Shivers, you've got to go home. Now I'm going to tip you to win the Cup.
Max?
Each way again. Storm?
Lee, could you give us what you think about yours?
I like Doremus. I think my dangers are Count Shivers, Vintage Crop, and if it's really wet, fewer chosen. I'm not tipping Mark's horse. I just don't know enough about the horse.
Ray?
Yeah.
I like Count Shivers.
And pretty hard at the other end, obviously, Double Trigger and Vintage Crop. Agreed?
Yeah, hard to go against their own horse. You know, we hope if he runs up to his home form or his midsummer form that he can certainly win it. I'm surprised that everybody dismisses the 3-year-old horse. I know it's very different because this is your spring, but we did take on Double Trigger with his full brother, a 3-year-old, and came second to him. That was a great run, I thought, from the Derby winner, and I think he's thrown in at the weights. I fear him.
Damn it.
Oh, I'll stay with Vintage Crop each way, especially if the rain comes, with Doremus being the main danger.
Well, I'm going to go for Nothin Leica Dane to beat Yes Indeed. Thank you, gentlemen. Good on you. We're going to take a break. Good luck. Back the winner. What do you always say? Dame Fortune?
Dame Fortune attends you.
Good on you, Keith. We'll take a break. Back with Kim after this.